Here's Janet. Hello, Janet. Steve here as well. Hi, Steve.
Again, hi everyone.
Hi, Steve.
Can't hear you, Janet. I can't hear you at all. Can you hear us, Janet? Janet, are you able to talk now and hear us or not? We can't hear you. At least, can anybody else hear Janet? No. It might be best to log out and log back in again, Janet. I don't know what else to suggest. Wait a sec.
Well, no, without the AirPods, somehow my AirPods are not kicking in. I don't know why.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you now just fine. Okay, then I suggest we kick off the meeting since Jerry and Sarah had said that Jerry won't be able to attend tonight, and Sarah is likely to be late or just listening in by phone. And I'm not sure whether Melissa is in country or where she is at the moment, but she's been traveling internationally for some time, so I don't think we should plan on her presence. So with that, let me call the meeting to order. This meeting of the Dover Warrant Committee is being conducted remotely in accordance with the temporary provisions of the Open Meeting Law. We're convening via conference using the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Take caution with what you show on screen, as others may be able to see it. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. To open the meeting, I'd like to get a roll call of members in attendance. Woody Wise.
Present.
Peter Smith.
Here.
Marty Howard.
Present.
Janet McCormack.
Here.
Steve Migalski.
Here.
And Cam Hudson. So I assume that the others won't be able to make it for the moment. I guess for the first line of business, we should review the minutes that Peter distributed. Are there any comments on the minutes? Hearing none, do I have a proposal to accept the minutes?
I move that the minutes of December 6th be approved.
Seconded?
Second.
Thanks, Woody. I'll do another quick call. Woody?
Agree.
Marty?
Agree.
Peter?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
And Janet?
Aye.
And I, Cam, accept them too, so unanimously accepted. Now would be the normal moment to call for citizens' comments, but I don't see any citizens unless Kay and or Jason have got some suggestions that they would like us to hear. Okay, then let's move on. And since we haven't got any representative from the Council of Aging here right now, I suggest we move straight on to the Board of Health proposals. And I'm not sure which of you will be making the presentation, you, Jason, or UK?
I will probably be speaking on it if that's all right with the group here.
That's absolutely okay.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks to all you guys for making the time for Kay and I. You know, this time last year during budget time, I was about 2 weeks into my position. So this is my first actual, full year of diving fully into this. So again, I appreciate you guys taking the time for us. So just real quick, I didn't know, I assumed you guys all had copies of our budget materials. I didn't know if it was, I planned on sharing my screen if that's
Yes, that would be great.
that's fine.
Woody, if you could make that available.
Everyone see that okay?
Yes, excellent.
All right, so pretty straightforward, honestly. There's not much change from last year. We're actually going to come in a few $1,000s lower than we did in the prior fiscal year. We did have the retirement of a longtime employee, so in bringing in their replacement, they're at a much lower salary number, so that's where that difference is coming in. The only changes I made are on this last page here of our worksheet. All I did was I basically beefed up a few of these lines. Miscellaneous, I added a few $100. membership dues, same thing there. And same thing for meetings. Reason being, now that we have kind of a full professional staff, which we really haven't had in years prior, I just wanted to have more opportunity for continued education, trainings, conferences, renewing credentials, things of that nature. So all in all, it, amounted to about a $1,500 bump between those three lines. And as I mentioned too, even with that bump, we're coming in a few $1,000s lower than last year. So there's really not a whole lot changing here overall. I don't know if there was anything else the group had questions or concerns on, or anything else you wanted to know, or anything Kay or myself could answer.
It's very difficult to argue with you when you're coming in with a budget that's less than last year, given the general environment. So I think that's a good position to be in from our perspective as well, since we're seeing in other areas some fairly significant increases in expenses. So that's much appreciated. I personally don't have any questions on this. Does anybody else have any questions?
Jason, I have a question.
Sure.
What was the savings in terms of moving from a senior person to a more, I guess, junior person when you replace the retired individual?
I don't know exact numbers off the top of my head, but our previous administrative assistant had been with the town for 20 years. So she was very much tenured, of course. So that versus a brand new employee, I want to say all in all, it was maybe close to $7,000 or $8,000 difference.
And the delta in total for the budget was how much of a reduction from year over year?
So hang on, I want to see if I can
It's
find.
from down to about 271,000 instead of 280 odd thousand. Is that it? Something roughly like that.
Yeah, so it was 281 last year. Or this current year, and it's going to be 279 for this next fiscal year.
Okay. So a big part of that, as you said at the beginning, is related to that change in individual.
Yep.
Any other questions? Well, that looks eminently reasonable to me. So if there aren't any more questions, we'll let you go. But thank you so much for spending your time with us, and also thank you for being modest in your requests. It makes it easier for us. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Okay, let's then move on to our next guest. And of course, Jason and Kay, you're most welcome to leave.
Yep. Have a great night, guys. Thanks again.
Thank you. Our next guest, Janet Claypool, probably needs no introduction. She's a known quantity in the town. Thank you so much for coming, Janet. I'll throw the floor over to you to present us with your budget proposals for the operating budget proposal for
Great.
Y25.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. I had sent my information off to Cam, so I'm hoping that you all have had a chance to look at that. And you can see that we're asking for a total budget of $280,971, which consists of $230,071 in salaries and $50,900 in expenses. I can go through this changes that we've had. Is that we took to heart the Warrant Committee's instructions of looking carefully at our fiscal year 23 expenses, and then also looking at where we are, how we're doing in our fiscal year 24 expenses. And so we did not significantly change our operating expenses for the upcoming year. One of the other challenges we have when we look at that is that we know we'll be moving into a new community center, and it's hard to predict what our needs will be when we'll be moving in at this point, probably mid-year, let's estimate. So we looked at our budgets and thought, let's see what we can manage with. The changes in our operating expenses were postage. We increased slightly due to increased rates in postage. We had 2 increases this past year. We know there's another one coming in January. And then we have reduced our printing expenses by the same amount of $500. We increased our food budget by $1,000 because that's one of our larger line items that we expend in. And those food costs continue to be expensive. And we are supplementing our food budget with monies from our formula grant as well as from revolving funds as well, to try to keep the cost as low as we can to the town. The biggest changes that you'll see will be in our salaries categories, in that we've adjusted them with the compensation schedule. But we had a change this year where we had a longtime employee retire in June. And so we've hired a new person as our administrative assistant who actually just started in December. And their hours have changed. So they're working at 16 hours a week. So we looked at adjusting that in the upcoming year to 19 hours as we need the support in our coverage because our demand for service is there. And we also have looked at the outreach coordinator. We're looking at increasing those hours by 3 a week in switching where instead of working Fridays, we're going to have that position also be in on Mondays. Because as of now, I'm the only person who was in on Mondays and I was doing outreach rather than other work. So we're really looking at, it's a level service change, but that's why we changed the amount in the wages. And then after reviewing this with the town administrator and the finance department, it was recommended that we add a line for extra hours and you could see that in our department salary spreadsheet of $845. And that was added because the COA is accessible and available to the police and the fire and the ambulance services at all times. So I'm getting calls on the weekend or in the evening, as is the outreach coordinator. And sometimes we have to take some time to support the personnel, the seniors in town when something has happened significant or as an emergency situation. So those are the categories where we had some changes. And I don't know if you had any questions that I can try to answer for you or clarify.
Thank you, Janet. That looks also a very reasonable proposal.
Janet, are the demographics of the town changing?
A little bit, but not significantly for us. I think that, we see this amount of seniors had increased because of the baby boomer generation. But right now, our census numbers came in from the state because we have a formula grant that we use. And the amount of elders had increased from the 2010 census to the 2020 census, but not significantly. And our department feels they were undercounted because due to the pandemic. But with the town clerk's numbers, you're seeing those go up. So the federal census is about 1,447 elders in the town, where the town clerk sees closer to over 1,500, 1,550 or so for elders. And we do have seniors from other communities that are sometimes reaching out to us for support. We try to redirect them back to their own COAs, but some of them do attend our programs. And we are working with a lot of families, grandchildren, children, caring for their parents, some people that are carrying long distance for their families. So we're not just serving some of the 60 plus community, we're serving some of the younger families as well.
With the increasing hours of your assistants, Janet, I know that there's some limit where people go from basically providing their own health and social benefits, and they move into being supported by the town in terms of health insurance and so on. Does that have got any? Does that have any role to play here in
No,
salaries?
we were cognizant of that and looked at the fact that we felt that this position could increase by 3 hours and help support the staff and the team, but it would keep it at a 19-hour-a-week position, which is a non-benefit position as it is now. The other position we have as program coordinator is also a non-benefited position. The only two benefit positions are the director and the outreach coordinator.
Okay.
So by increasing the outreach coordinator's hours, she already has the benefit package. It would not be adding that expense.
Okay. So I mean, I feel sort of a bit of a bind on whether it's reasonable to withhold benefits by sort of keeping people's hours down artificially, or not. I mean, I can see the benefit on the bottom line, but then on the other hand, it seems like a sort of, if it's intended that way, it seems a little bit unfair. So I don't know what other people feel about that. I mean, I guess the point is that if for operational reasons you need to increase above the 19 hours, then I think we would be certainly prepared to support that too at some time in the future.
So thank you. I think what we looked at is this position has just started in December, and that we wanted to have a longer time to kind of look at the demand for the need for those hours. I see that, but I want to be able to demonstrate it before we ask for more money.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any expectations with I guess the community center is not really going to open in the next fiscal year anyway. But my question was, do you have any expectations or thoughts about possible increased involvement of more elderly community members when the center becomes available?
I think we are going to see increased involvement. I think not just from the seniors in Dover, but seniors in other communities, because they are also looking for programs that kind of meet their needs. And I think for us, we always say we're a small but mighty team, that we're able to provide a lot of service with not a lot of people, but we do a lot of work. But I think we have to think about that, Cam, because at some point we have a staff member who may retire in the next 3 to 4 years. And so we have to think about what's our succession planning for that. And with the demand of service that may come in, what we see is the demand for service and outreach is what's been increasing every year. And so we just try to maintain that. And in some cases we've come back and the town has supported increasing those hours.
Mm-hmm.
I think that will continue to increase, honestly, because people age, their healthcare issues change, and we're able to provide some care planning and support here in their community, and help them through the entire process. So I don't think that people's healthcare issues will go away. Hopefully we can just still continue to be a strong support for them.
And pardon me for my ignorance, but for the programs that you run, do out-of-towners pay a different fee than residents, or do they pay?
Not for some of them, no. For example, for the trips, like for example, today we had a trip to the Museum of Fine Arts, and we had a certain amount of tickets we were able to purchase, and we offer Dover residents the first option to enroll in any program. That if a program fills up, we give a priority to Dover residents, and then if there's still space available, we open it up to other communities.
Okay. And you know, I know for a fact that other communities do the same thing with Dover residents as well. So I think that's a reasonable
I think
strategy
the
to have.
goal is that, as from in talking to other councils on aging and senior centers, we want people to get out and connect. And so if they find a program in Medfield or Westwood that they prefer over something we offer in Dover, we want them to go. And we want them to be able to meet their needs and socialize and connect with their friends in their community.
Mhm.
I think we'll see some partnerships as we move to the community center. You know, we've been Parks and Rec and COA has always had a strong partnership, and we will continue that. We've developed more partnerships this year with the Dover Mothers Association and the library we're working with on some programs. The community's been very generous at sharing some space with us, so that we can continue to offer a lot of options.
Any other questions from committee members?
Thank you, everybody.
And if there aren't any, then I'll thank you so much for coming, Joan.
course.
Much appreciated.
And if you have questions, email or give me a call. I'd be happy to talk with you again.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So it's actually going to be an easier night than I thought it was going to be tonight. We've got through that very quickly. Peter, a question of procedure. If we're comfortable with the budget proposals that are being made, do we vote? Can we vote on them, or do you recommend that we hold fire until we've got the whole set of them before we do that?
In the past, we have voted the operating budgets all in one session. Once we've seen the big picture.
Yeah. Okay. No,
I just to cite one example of where that, you know, voting early would have been an issue. In 2010, in January, as the economy was spiraling deeper into the Great Recession, the Warrant Committee recommended a reduction, a last-minute reduction in the non-contract employee increase.
Ooh.
And so everything was revised based on that. So I think there's a precedent and a reason for holding fire until a little later.
Okay, no, that's good. So that's really all that I was planning on us talking about tonight. Do we have any liaison updates?
And but I think you're the primary liaison, but I just got the email that Eric Arnold is stepping down from Hale Education.
Yes. So I think I explained last week that I had a conversation with him, and he told me he would be stepping down in about August of next year, and that was what was sort of officially announced, I think, today. And he said that only really is increasing their motivation to come up with a solution fairly quickly. For me, I think the biggest challenge is to position a conservation restriction that both Westwood and Dover would enjoy, while Dover is the only one that's actually contributing to it. And Eric seemed to be of the view that there might be ways to come to an arrangement on that by offering special services to Dover, such as memberships for kids of a certain age, or other sorts of beanies, like providing classes for students, for several sets of classes for students as well. So there are some possibilities there that may make it a little bit more interesting. But but I think we've just got to wait and see what the case that they make is.
That wouldn't be a part of this year's budget then, or is that still possible?
Well, their ambition is for it to be part of this year's budget, but it won't be certainly part of this budget cycle. It would be a special meeting towards the end of the year if that was going to happen. I think they're certainly not far enough advanced to get through without that special meeting.
Okay.
Any other? I did get an update from Chris Costello, who joined us last week. He has evidently got several ideas on how we might identify somebody for the personnel board. So I'm going to meet with him in the next couple of days to get a better handle on that. And hopefully he has got some effective suggestions on how we can go about that. And that's basically all that I have. Our next meeting is currently scheduled for the 3rd of January, where we'll be doing a review of Parks and Rec and the Board of Selectmen's budgets. Is that something that I know that could be a little bit ambitious to hold a meeting so close to the new year. So I'm wondering, is that a reasonable date for us to take up the cudgels for next year? So I guess the question is that
Works for me.
Yeah, that it doesn't work for. Okay, then let's just assume that January the 3rd it is. Well, with that, I think we're going to be.
Cam, is there any word about how the Board of Selectmen are going to modify their function?
No, I think I actually accidentally met Robin Hunter in Noannet Park the other day, and she said that it looks like there'll have to be a special election, and that probably won't be able to be held until about mid-February, given the sort of various process requirements for it.
Does that have to be a full town election?
Yes, it would be a special election. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's how Robin first got on the Board of Selectmen, when Joe Milliken retired for health reasons back in about 2013, 2014. There had to be a special election, and Robin ran and went on, and fortunately stayed on.
Yeah. Something maybe you'd consider doing, Peter.
Not on your life. I'm a sergeant, not an officer. I know my place.
Yeah. I feel much more comfortable at the sergeant level too, let me assure you.
No, I did my 1 year in the barrel. That's enough.
Yeah.
I've got a question on liaison. Some of them are pretty obvious, like Board of Health, but I have something like garbage and recycle, and I wasn't sure like who.
There is a recycling committee. So if you go on to the website, you'll see who the chairman of it is, and I would just reach out to them.
But I think the budget is handled by DPW.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
So that was the other question, because it feels like it's part of his DPW and part is Board of Health, and I wasn't sure who handled the budget, but okay, DPW.
I think DPW spends the money.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that probably means you don't need to reach out to the recycling committee unless they have special plans to spend money for us.
Yeah, back when food recyclables went to the pig farmer, it was handled, that was negotiated by the recycling committee. But now that the food scraps are going to the digester, that's being handled by DPW.
Yeah, it's not much of an update, but both Board of Appeals and cemetery have confirmed to me they've got nothing happening. So
Just flat budgets. Mhm.
yeah, no warrant article sponsored or anything.
Okay, good. Mhm.
It appeared from Michael's presentation last week that a lot of this is going to be the insurance, health insurance, and the additional staff that they're requesting.
Right, which basically, I mean, we could discuss staffing levels, but the others are sort of pretty much beyond our control. We can't.
Yes.
We just got to accept that anyway. So
It wasn't clear why the Carroll School was going up 9%, but I assume we'll get that when we hear from the school.
and by the way, everyone, I don't know whether you're accessing the documents, but they are all on the Google Drive. So by all means, go in and have a look at that. There's a folder there for FY25, and in that I've been trying to put all the budget submissions in there. So please, it's probably worthwhile you looking the particular department up we're talking to, if we've got any presentation from them in advance, so that you can get a sense of what they're proposing and where the questions might be.
So Kim, when my AirPods wasn't working, but what I was saying was I went to the townhouse to pick up a copy of the school budget, and Mona or Felicia thought you picked them up already, and is it
No,
because
Melissa, I think, picked them up, but Michael Blanchard sent out an electronic version of them today, and I put them on the shared drive, so you'll be able to access it all there.
okay? So share drive, how do I access that?
So if you just go into onto a web browser and make sure you're logged in on Dover, Mass.
Okay.
And then or into the Google account that your email address is tied to. I should better say, because some of you don't yet have the Dover, Mass accounts. And I'm still working on that, by the way. I have to keep asking, and I get promises always, it'll be tomorrow or the next day, and another week goes by and I still haven't got it sorted out, so I apologize. But you log into the Google account, and then you go to a Google Drive, which is their app, and you select that, and if you click on it, then you'll see the shared warrant committee folder there, and then you'll see everything in there.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I just found the email from Michael that actually had a link in it, so thank you.
Okay, great. So are there any other questions? You're looking puzzled, Marty.
No, I was very interested in finding out how to access it, so I appreciate those instructions.
Yeah, and by all means, give me a call and we can walk through it directly if that would be easier, because then I can do the same thing on my end and tell you exactly what the next steps would be.
I mean, I downloaded it on Google Drive, and there's an index that you can at least find the things, as opposed to, just a big, massive 210-page document.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually the Cam Near email from December 12th for FY25 budgets. In that email chain, there's a link to the Google Drive.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually very, very helpful because it lists the budget and who the person is. That's what I've been trying to find.
Mhm.
Liaison purpose. So thank you.
Okay, are there any other things we should discuss? Okay, then I think we'll call it call for an adjournment, and we'll get together in early January again, and hope everybody has a great holiday period in the meantime.
Happy
So do I
holidays.
hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Peter. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Woody. I think we can vote by acclamation and by the hand, can't we?
Yep.
I think it's unanimous.
Happy holidays and a happy new year when we get busy.
And to you as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.